This is Doug Evans. I'm the president and CEO of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce as far as we're concerned, because we love what we do here in South Florida on the island of Palm Beach. This is your Palm Beach Guide. It's our weekly podcast that I'm sure a lot of you are used to seeing us on video, of course, and hearing us in your favorite place where we drop our podcast. And this week is special because we have somebody here today with me who is a member of the Chamber of Commerce, who is an entrepreneur. He builds businesses, even at his young age. He's like 26 years old, basically. He builds businesses as an amazing guy, pivoted from a financial company, and I'll let him tell you what this new company is. And to me, it's like I know him and his wife very, very well, and I so admired what they're doing, and it blows my mind because I don't know how you do these kinds of things. With me is Michael Koppy. Michael is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. He also last year received our award as the Entrepreneur of the Year. Remember that one? Who was totally shocked and surprised because unlike other organizations, we don't tell people in advance. And we don't sell tables to get people there. We make sure they get there somehow, so we work with his wife to make it very quiet, and then of course he was totally shocked and surprised. So Michael Koppy, welcome. And Michael has somebody here with you, but we're not going to tell you why Elizabeth is here until a couple of minutes from now. So Michael, you started off when I first met you with a financial services firm.
Sure.
Doing, and I'll get it wrong, basically recovery of different kinds of class action suits. Well, big one being credit cards when I first met you, which is amazing. So you had that business for a long time. So tell me a little bit about that, and then I want to pivot into your next adventure, which is 180 degrees different from that, which is totally cool.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for having us here. I appreciate it, and I'm excited to get to the part with Elizabeth sitting here with us. I was shocked to receive the award for Entrepreneur of the Year, and I don't get shocked easily, and I usually am more excited for other people to receive awards or recognition, and this was one that I was happy to receive, and it's one of the higher honors I've received in my career, which is really neat. But yeah, so when we first met and we were talking about what I do for a living, it's at Financial Recovery Strategies, FRS, we're the nation's or the world's leading class action claims filing and management firm. We represent everything from a dairy farm to about 25% or so of the Fortune companies. We help them file claims, help them identify settlement opportunities, and help them file their claims, recover what's called remnant assets, and help enhance the claim value if we can through various ancillary efforts that typically are unbeknownst to the regular claimant if they're doing it on their own. But it's been a really great journey and an interesting pivot. So retiring from the class action world it's weird. It's different. It's interesting because my entire life, my professional life, since I was 23, I've been working on class action settlements. And I've owned other companies like tanning salons, cell phone stores in New York, the dry cleaning business that we'll get to.
Nightclub,
nightclub.
In the good old heady days of the Limelight and all the fun places.
Oh yeah,
Of course, I was there.
And even a hockey team.
What I remember, I was there, yes.
Yeah, so it's been a really cool journey, but the main thing has always been class action settlement recovery. And I decided recently that at the end of this year I'm going to retire from the class action recovery world, pass the baton to someone else really. And I still get a lot of calls like in this last few months since I've been transitioning out of that role and into my new role starting 2025. I'm still getting dozens of calls per week from companies asking for advice, asking questions, or even updates on things that we've already done for them. So that I think will still be a thing as the even months or years move on.
Transitions.
Yeah, still calling because I've always allowed myself to be somebody in your Rolodex where even if you don't hire our firm, call me if you get a letter in the mail, call me if you're confused about something, or if the settlement administrator on a particular case is not responding amount of time that you need them to.
Right.
So people call me all the time saying, I know we didn't hire your firm, but hey, what does this letter mean? Let me take a look, I'll tell you what I think, kind of thing. So, but I'm happy now to report that after a good 23 years or so, that makes me 46.
I thought it was 26, I guess.
Yes.
I'm not good with math.
I like your calculator better.
With math.
We're going to use yours.
Math is bad.
But after 23 years.
Yeah,
26.
Oh, you're right though.
But 46 going on 26 forever. So after 23 years, at the end of this calendar year, it's official that I would have been retired and sort of like Alex Rodriguez with walk-off home run.
Sure.
I just worked on the Visa MasterCard settlement
Right.
that
Huge.
we talked about, a
Huge.
couple years ago. The deadline to file was in May, then they extended to August 30th.
Right.
They now have extended it to February of 2025. But working on that case primarily for about 16 years or so, maybe 17, that's what I wanted to have sort of as part of my legacy.
Wrapped up?
Yeah, retire, ending that settlement, and I'll get into some really cool stuff for 2025, but I've put everything else on hold for the most part, even the other stuff that I own, and other priorities. Everybody has been very gracious in these other organizations or entities that I'm involved with, like an international multi-billion-dollar hospitality company that I'm one of the 5 executive board of directors. They also were waiting for me to conclude the Visa MasterCard
Sure.
settlement with my firm, retire, transition out of that so I can take on a bigger role once I have a little more bandwidth, and I have that sort of behind me. So I'm excited about things like that for next year, taking on a little bit bigger role in the things that I already participated in for the last handful of years.
But that's not the priority for Palm
No.
Beach
No.
in 2025. And I was doing an interview with Fernando Wong, who's a world-class landscape architect for one of the podcasts, and we're talking about how Palm Beach and the area is a small town. And I use the example, when I go to Publix here, which is our grocery store for those of you outside the markets, it's like a Stop and Shop or
Florida
Kroger or
icon,
something else,
yeah.
Florida icon. You know, I know the checkout ladies, they're all ladies by name, and they hug me because they're all like grandmas to me, I love them. And I said, I also go into the local dry cleaner right on the island of Palm Beach, and they know my name. And I said, so it's a small town. And having dinner with Michael one night and Paige, and he said, well, by the way, I've got this new business I'm bought and I'm building. I'm like, what? Go Green Dry Cleaners, which to me, I'm like, that is so cool. And I've learned so much about that industry from you in the last few months that I knew nothing about. So what made you pivot from financial recovery, Visa MasterCards into Go Green Dry Cleaners? And it's more than just one location. So we're gonna talk about that because it's which is why Elizabeth is here. So why did you and Paige do this? And then what's your vision for it? This is what I find is fascinating because you're an entrepreneur, you start up businesses.
Sure. Yeah, and definitely. So we started Go Green Dry Cleaners in New York. Our first store is Mamaroneck, New York. It's our flagship location. It's still there. About 16, 17 years ago, same amount of time, around the same time that I started FRS with my business partner. So there was something in the name. The quick little story is that my business partner, who's been running 100% of the operations since day one, because he was in the dry cleaning business for 10 years prior. We're best friends, hockey teammates in college, played a little pro together. He was in the dry cleaning business. I owned tanning salon, cell phone stores at the same time. So his landlord in New York, back 16, 17 years ago, they were not going to renew his lease because he used something called PERC, the traditional dry
Sure.
cleaning that's highly toxic. There's over 100 regulations by the EPA, how you use it, how you discard it, how you manage it, and all the things. With our process, there's 0 regulations by the EPA. We'll get to that in a second as well. But his landlord had the foresight to say, look, I need you to go green at your cleaning facility. It's in my shopping center, or I won't renew your lease. So his partner at the time, I don't know if he didn't believe in it, but he didn't think it was worth the investment.
Sure.
So he came to me and said, look, I've got this sort of dilemma, possibly an opportunity. I need to convert my cleaning facility to green. My landlord kept saying, I have to go green or else. I have to go green or else find a new spot. I have to go green. And also he had an opportunity in Connecticut for a couple additional locations. So for a summer, we're talking about going green. And I had the money and he already had the business for 10 years. His partner said, look, if you want to do it with Mike, Connecticut, the other stuff in New York, going green, go for it. And so when we decided, so I said, I believe in you. I've seen what you've done the last 10 years. I said, and I believe in eco-friendly. I don't think it's a trend. I think it's trendy, but this is the way of the future. I think
Right.
your landlord is 20 years ahead of the curve. I'll never forget saying this to him. I'm like, I think your landlord's 20 years ahead of the curve on going green. I said it's going to be a way of the future, and this PERC, this
In
other stuff,
everything, in
is going to
everything.
be banned.
But
I
17
said
years
it's-
ago, it wasn't popular.
yeah, I'm like, it's only a matter of time when people start to realize and they educate themselves, because I was going through the same thing in the tanning salon. So even though we used UVB bulbs and all the most filtered bulbs, people were overexposing themselves, and I knew
Sure.
eventually, not only would our small tanning salons go out of business because we had to compete with the big national chains, but also people are going to become more health conscious and not want to go and fry themselves in an indoor tanning salon. And so I knew that was a trend, but also I wanted to get ahead of it being unhealthy potentially. So that's what allowed me to transition out of the tanning salon into the class action world. That's when that pivot happened. But I saw the same thing in dry cleaning. I said, you know what, I'm all in. Here's my checkbook. What do you want me to do? He said, I'll run the thing. I'll send you money every month. Trust me, I'm the dry cleaner. You're the tanning salon guy and you want to go do the class action stuff, go do that. As long as you finance the expansion and the things. And we were trying to figure out a name. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, well, we're going green. I'm like, what about Go Green Dry Cleaners? And he's like, it sounds catchy. I'm like, think about it. Nobody can mess that up. They know what the mission is. They know what we're about, eco-friendly, and we're dry cleaners. But I think that people are going to call us Go Green. I just have this weird feeling. I'm like, what do you think? He said, yes. About a year later, I'm like, I think we need to trademark this name. I feel something really cool about this name, Go Green Dry Cleaners. Everybody's calling us the Go Green guys, or Go Green, Go Green. It was never like dry cleaners attached to it. So after a few years, I was able to actually trademark that, which I won't get into because I don't give away the secrets. But it took me 3 years and a few different attorneys that finally we were able to get a national trademark on Go Green Dry Cleaners. I just felt there was something in the name. Yeah. And then as the years went on, the product really proved to be better, best in class, best in market. And then the scalability for me was always a thing, but I was never in the dry cleaning business. So fast forward to we moved here to Florida. I opened up an FRS office here, right up the street, PJ and Military, working on the Visa MasterCard case. And so we realized that the price points here are the same. Cost of doing business before COVID was less expensive. And so my partner decided, let's expand down here. Let's go to West Palm Beach. We love the area. You already have an office here. You just moved here with Paige. And he'll run the whole thing. COVID happened. My wife inherited the operations. So I'm still working full-time, more than full-time on this settlement. And she had to learn how to become an expert owner-operator.
And she is. I've seen it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So she did. And I realized in the past, maybe 6 months or a year, we've been approached in the last 10 years several times by franchise companies wanting to take us national or even global. It was never the right time for us. I was never even close enough to the operations, but I was always so dedicated to the class action stuff, so I couldn't even give it. It's like we can open up a couple more stores.
Sure.
That's easy to manage. But selling 100 of these units, that requires a primary focus and beyond.
Yes, who does that? Yes.
So a year ago, we were approached by the United Franchise Group.
Correct.
And they said, we love the concept. We have an international headquarters in Australia.
They do.
But we have our U.S. headquarters is here in West Palm. We'd love for you to come tour the campus.
It's an amazing place.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. And the
mind.
stuff they're doing for especially these zip codes around here is exactly what we're trying to do as a starting point for maybe beyond. But in any case, so they really, they not just said all the right things, but it just felt correct.
They're great. They know
And
what they're doing.
I'll never forget, I'm talking to the president of the company. I said, here's the deal. This is last December, literally a year ago, when claim forms became available. I knew that I could not deal with this for a year, but I wanted to at some point. I knew it was going to transition out at some point and be able to transition in, or at least the company itself would mature a little bit more without me, where there would be more people in place that could take on this idea of franchising.
Sure.
So they agreed that we wouldn't, we'd revisit the idea after the Visa MasterCard settlement concluded in its entirety. And I had a little more time to even talk about it. So we inked a deal with them. They waited. They're still waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still waiting. They've been wonderful.
But they know they're going to get it.
They know they're going to get it.
Yep.
And they on their end have been preparing and building towards when it's the right time to sit down now that we're in season.
Sure.
We got to wait a few more months. But they understand that, and they're like, hey, we know we're going to wait. So this summer, the exciting news is that probably Q2, Q3 of 2025 is when Go Green will officially roll out franchising. They're excited. We're super excited. We've already pre-qualified, pre-qualified and onboarded our first official fully licensed operator.
Good.
Where we've been scouting a location recently, a couple locations. We've decided on 1 or 2, and after the new year, we should be moving in, getting keys, and starting to move all the pieces around. And so Go Green Dry Cleaners officially, Q1 of 2025 will be a franchisor.
Wow.
And then our first franchisee, sitting next to me right now, will be our first official flagship franchisee.
So introduce your franchisee,
Yeah.
your first one. Tell
Yes,
us.
absolutely. All right. Well, so this is Elizabeth Floyd, and not only she owns MC Elite Concierge Management Services.
Because
based
she's
on
an
Palm Beach.
she's an entrepreneur also.
She's an entrepreneur as
and
well.
She's not from the dry cleaning business.
No, and
No,
she's
absolutely
not
not.
from driving business at all, but she is familiar with it. The client base that she has for her existing company is the same one, our target audience for these zip codes. So it's a nice seamless sort of transition, not transition, but bolt on to what she's already doing. So, and I'll let her explain a little bit about that. But what I wanted to highlight is that Elizabeth and I, we met through the chamber 2 years ago.
It's been that long.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I stay younger and the
Hard to
chamber
believe.
keeps
And I
getting older.
I
I
get
guess.
older by the minute, so
Crazy.
that's fine.
But no, it's one of the cooler stories of my career, most recently in my career path. We've been talking, get to know each other. We've been great, I think, ambassadors of the chamber.
Yeah.
It just allowing people to reach out to us, networking, communicating, and how we can work together with each other. And a friendship was forged through the chamber, and then a professional relationship, more of like a referral base. If I can help you, you can help me. Because she represents estates on the island.
With people who
Yep.
are. Yes.
And we do the cleaning for estates on the island. So we're able to sort of cross-pollinate our services and help each other out. Well, then in recent months, once I was able to sort of as I pivoted and transitioning into a new role for 2025, there had been handfuls of people that are interested in a Go Green in passing. But as we've discussed other business opportunities, even beyond just dry cleaning and class actions and her business, it sort of started to make sense. Like, well, listen, instead of that other company that we were talking about possibly starting up,
Sure.
I have this thing that I think is going to be magical, especially here in Palm Beach and then beyond. Go
And
Green
she
Dry
has the
Cleaners.
geographic roots.
And she does, and she understands it.
And the people.
And the people. So it's a great head start for her in this thing that I've already not just discovered, but we've proven the concept. We've scaled. We're just shy of 20 locations in 3
That's
states.
incredible.
Without franchising. And I owe it all to my partner up in New York and my wife.
But this is in advance of you signing with the franchise
Yes.
company. You're doing this on your own right
This was
now,
all independent
Which
of
is-
United
which is-
Franchise Group or franchising being a real thing.
which is terrific. So Elizabeth, you saw this idea. I'm fortunate because I think the location's near me, which is a good thing. So
We're hoping.
why did you? I mean, I get that it's the current clientele base you have. I get that Michael's got a service he's providing to these very wealthy people who have high expectations. Quite honestly, you're adding another tentacle to your business. Which is, so tell me about it. Why this and why you and why? There's got to be some reason. You said, I think I'd like to be in dry cleaning. But you're an entrepreneur.
No,
That's,
if you would have told me this 6 months ago, I would have never thought that.
but at base, you're a businesswoman. You're an entrepreneur.
Right.
And so is that what inspired you to say, something sounds like a good idea. I can make some money here. I can service my clients. I know the market.
Right. So I think it started, like he said, we're on the board of trustees together, so we would run into each other and then usually do lunch or something after that. And like he said, we started bouncing like business ideas off of each other. More me just like, telling him the thing that I dreamed up the night before. Yeah. I'd come to and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited about this. And he'd be like, well, and then, dissect the whole thing. So I started sounding like a lot of things off of him. And then obviously like the class action thing was going on. We talked about that quite a bit. And then when he started talking about franchising, we actually started meeting up for like coffee and lunch like a little bit more, talking about like the franchise going forward with Go Green. It was actually right before I left the country for 2 weeks. He asked me to sit down for lunch to the Middle East.
Yes.
Yep, I was flying out halfway across the world. And he kind of just, at lunch, just presented this idea and was like, go on your trip, let me know what you think about it, and talk to me when you get back.
It's really you.
Yeah, and it was that, it was just a nice little bomb before I left. So I thought about it the whole time.
Of course.
Yep.
In case you had any idea, staying in the Middle East. I'm like, before you
That'd be
move
like,
there,
that'd be like a 17-hour flight to give you time to think, right?
Completely, but I was traveling with someone and she's, going through some health issues, so she's looking for like alternative things to do aside from like a 9 to 5. She can't really support that right now, and so I started talking to her a lot about like this idea, and even as like a sounding board too, of like talk me out of it. Talk me out of why this is a bad idea, talk me out of why it's what you do. Talk me out of onboarding this
Sure.
in addition to my current business. It's already, you know, a little bit insane sometimes. And at the end of it, it was just, there wasn't really like a barrier in the transition because it complements sort of what we do so much. I have estates on the islands that, I mean, we do $5,000-6,000 a month in dry cleaning, and I'm in text communication with the drivers and, you know, coordinating drop-offs and pickups and things that are
Because
wrong.
those people
like,
have high expectations.
absolutely.
Period.
And you're dealing with things that are priceless. I mean, garments that are priceless. Even, you know, I have someone that has antique bedding, and, you know, you're dealing with things that are, you know, designer drapes and all kinds of things that
And
require
clothes that are expensive.
extremely expensive. Yeah.
And boutique, often irreplaceable.
Exactly.
Irreplaceable. It's
Yeah.
one of a
Priceless,
kind,
yeah.
made for you by a certain designer,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. And you ruin it, you're dead.
Yeah.
Kind of
pretty
thing, which you can't do. And that's while he is the provider, you're the conduit.
Exactly.
You answer to Mr. or Mrs.
Absolutely.
basically. So that makes sense.
And that's actually what started the conversation too, because he was like, I want your feedback on how you think these clients are receiving this, especially with the eco-friendly thing. And as you know, like on the island, our clients are all about that. Everything
Yeah.
is eco-friendly. They don't want chemicals on their clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, even with that sort of thing, there's very specific instructions of like what can happen in the process before it comes back to the house.
And that's evolving because
It
there's
is.
younger people moving onto the island. And a lot of the older folks who have the big houses are selling them to people who are in their 40s and 50s who think more that direction.
Right.
I think.
Well, they're also seeing the long-term effects of like, we see it in landscaping. They brought all these Japanese plants over and they're killing the natives. So now they're getting rid of all of the non-natives and bringing back natives. So there's been sort of an evolution to get sort of back to the natural part of, you know, the beauty of the island, including like pest control.
Exactly.
They're taking all of that stuff away. And so obviously this is something that, I mean, especially with clothes, you breathe in them, you absorb whatever's in them. So the incentive there, especially from a health perspective, is I've seen it skyrocket in the last 5 years.
You know, I think it's a really wonderful marketing platform because what I had learned when I was doing a project with Martha Stewart was that sheets that are colored are dyes and you're sleeping on them.
Mhm.
Even
Absolutely.
white sheets have chemicals in them.
Yeah.
So now when I think about buying something like that, I'm very careful about what you're spending a third of your life laying on because your skin absorbs it. So in this situation, Michael,
Yeah.
you know, Elizabeth, you've got a marketing angle that while it's interesting, it's real.
Mhm.
Right.
This is real. I love that. So when you present this to your clients, I'm assuming that this is like a slam dunk, like, oh, you can do this. And so you've got those current clients, but something at some point in time said to you, I'm going to open a bricks and mortar.
Sure.
And what was that pivot? What made you decide to do that, to get out of the service provider and say, I'm going to be an owner of this now? That's huge, and it's great, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the intention was always to build up a business enough to where I didn't have to be boots on the ground, and then buy the next one and build that one up to where I didn't have to be boots on the ground.
Smart.
And same, I mean, when he presented me with this idea, I told him, I was like, I will turn the profit from the first one, buy the next one until I have 4 or 5, hire a regional manager, and keep doing the same thing. And he was like, well, that was my thought when I did this.
Yeah.
So, and that's sort of what got the ball rolling on that end, aside from the fact that it's very congruent with what we already do. Even now, like, he delivers to a large client of mine on the island, so now I can provide feedback from a client base of like, these are the things that we need to adjust, and to really make it like that over the top, you know, meticulous service that the kind of clientele that we're servicing require.
Well, you know, that's the definition here, and I always try to, like, when we have these discussions, because people listen to this and watch this lots of places. At this point, it's getting bigger and bigger. We refer to the island, it is the island of Palm Beach. It's an island with 3 bridges that connect to it, 2 of whom are packed all the time, for the most part. And the clientele who lives on the island, the houses are not $10 million. They're 40, 50, 60, and $150 million houses. They have high expectations. And even though you're the estate manager, you're still dealing with the person who is going to wear the clothes.
Absolutely.
And for them, I would think they're supportive of you, especially as an entrepreneur, to start adding bricks and mortar to your operation.
Absolutely.
Because in a way, even though, and let me get this wrong, you're going to deliver to, let's pretend the location near me, which I hope opens, by the way, you deliver to that, it's still going to go from there to the home plant.
Right.
In Riviera Beach,
Yeah.
I believe, yes, where the
Yeah.
home plant is, where all this processing takes place. So it's a whole ecology. Right
Yeah.
word,
Of course.
it's a whole ecology.
That's the
for
right
this.
word.
And that's the way it needs to be. So I find it exciting. So you, with your expansion, you've got your home base here on the island with these very wealthy clients of houses. You're going to get a location or two at some point in time and keep expanding that. And then pivot off from the house management business, the estate management business, to this, which I think is fabulous. So circling back this, so with the two of you, which clearly you have a fabulous working relationship, you are totally in simpatico. I can see it right now, and I've seen this when I've seen you communicate with each other at the trustee lunches and things like that. So I'm really excited for you, and I'm glad that the chamber in some weird way was a bit of a matchmaker on this, which is terrific. So
100% was.
and nothing but success for both of you, I hope. So Michael, she's gonna end up buying Go Green, the whole company.
That's my plan.
You're gonna sell it off to her.
That's my plan.
And
I'm
then you
gonna
can
help him.
then you can do your next thing,
That's my
which
plan.
whatever that may be. At 26 years old, you got your whole life ahead of you. So I nothing but congratulations
Thank
here. And like I said, Michael is a good friend of mine. We've become really good friends through the course of me being at the chamber, which was an accident, 2 years ago, kind of a thing. But fate has a way of working those things out. And with you and the way that you strategically as an entrepreneur said, I need to add a value add service to my current client base that I can, to a certain extent, control the quality
Right.
of,
Absolutely.
is so important. It's like having groceries delivered. You know where those things are coming from, so when your client gets it, they're going to be happy. You and Michael, I've seen this with Paige, your wife. You're right meticulous, right down to the button that's missing on the dress
Right. Yeah.
and the shirt. And you put
Honestly,
it back
that
on.
was a huge selling
Yeah.
point for me. Is I went and toured the factory with them for a couple hours, and that attention to detail is what my clients look for, and is what is hugely lacking with a lot of delivery services like that. Like, they ensure that every single thing is exactly the way it should be before it leaves the plant.
I mean, it's amazing to me. And Michael, the location that you bought in downtown Palm Beach, it's not in the center of Palm. There's no downtown. In the center of Palm Beach was a store
Where's
that had
that?
been there forever.
Right.
Been there forever.
Been there for a long time.
And I said to you when I first met you, that was the only dry cleaner you could ever go to with a white dinner jacket. This sounds just so ridiculous. With a white dinner jacket to get the makeup off of it, with the lipstick.
No, but it's so true.
It's
That's
the
what
only
it was
one.
known for.
That
That's
is-
why we bought the factory that belonged to that store.
I didn't know that until this very moment.
Yeah.
You've never told me that.
So
I did
you want
not
to hear a
know
cool
that.
little story?
Yeah.
We bought so we were going to open up a store in Jupiter.
And you
That's
guys don't have to
our
rush off, so we can have a few minutes here. right?
Okay,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
yep, at any time you give me one of these,
I will,
and then I
yeah.
know that I got a few minutes to wind it up. But so we said, let's open up a store. Paige was gonna run a store
In
in
Jupiter.
Jupiter. That was our first store that we built from scratch here. We needed to find a best-in-class wholesale provider. It was just a drop store. So the president of the National Cleaners Association and about 5 other generational dry cleaner operators around the country, they all suggested Cricket Cleaners
Right.
in Riviera Beach. They have a factory, it's got all the stuff, the blah, blah, blah. And so they were just gonna do the cleaning for us at first, the store in Jupiter. So we toured the facility. It's great, it's pretty big. Relatively speaking, it's ginormous, compared to other little cleaning facilities. And so we're like, all right, great. Everybody, my partner at the time in Connecticut, he said, yep, this is the guy that everybody says we should use, the guy and his wife to use to clean our clothes. I said, all right, well, I don't know anything about it, so I trust you guys and all the other experts. So we're at closing, and we're getting the keys to the cleaning facility, and the owner hands me another set of keys. He said, oh, I almost forgot, the store. I said, well, we're going to change the locks anyway. I said, it's okay. We don't need the extra set of keys. He goes, no, this is for the store. And so about 7-8 years ago, when I opened up my office at PJ Military here, we went shopping on Worth Avenue. We happened to do a walk, just beautiful day.
Downtown.
We're standing in front of this dry cleaner, Cricket Cleaners,
Uh-huh.
and right across from Town Hall
Yeah.
on South County Road, beautiful, cute little traditional quaint dry cleaner on the island boutique
Yeah.
dry cleaner. And my wife's like, oh, what a cute store. I would love to own something here on the island one day. I said, you know what, sweetheart, let me know. One day I'll come back and, I did the New York thing. I said, I'll make them offer they can't refuse. I said, I'll get you the store one day. You just let me know when you want it. And it was cute. It was a cute little moment, right?
Yeah.
It was like, here's looking at you, kid. One of those cool moments in a TCM movie, third class movie. So, so a few years later, we're sitting here at the cleaning facility, and he's about to hand me this extra set of keys. So we don't need them. We're gonna change the locks. He says, no, it's for a store. We own a store. I'm like, oh, an actual store, because they called the cleaning facility a store also. So we thought the store the whole time was just the cleaning facility. And so I'm like, all right, well, and I kind of leaned over to Paige at one point when nobody could hear me. I said, I don't know if we should take these keys. I don't know if we should take these keys. Like, I don't know what this store is. Like, you know, and so it was kind of funny. It was cute. It was a joke. So then we ended up putting the GPS to go see the store. So we're coming through Riviera Beach, kind of through downtown. I'm like, oh, maybe it's downtown. I'm like, there's some places that maybe we really don't want it.
West Palm Beach, yeah.
Yeah, so as we're approaching the bridge, I'm like, sweetheart, you don't think it's on the island, this store, do you? She's like, no, of course not. She said, we'll probably go through the island, down to Lake Worth, wherever the store is. And so we pull up as we're getting closer. We're going around the roundabout where Church Mouse is.
Beep, 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 beep.
And also we pull, it takes us right to the store that a few years prior I said, I'll come back one day and buy you this store.
Serendipitous.
Yeah,
Meant to be.
So that's
Meant to
how
be.
we acquired the store. It was by accident, but by divine intervention and faith that we inherited that store. And and it goes to the whole sort. I planned on coming back one day and owning something on the island.
You got it.
And
You got it.
yeah, through the grace of
You
God,
got it.
we got it.
And it is, you know, it has always been the go-to dry cleaner in town,
Mhm.
because like I said, I have taken white dinner jackets there that have stuff on them and I think it's ruined. It's absolutely
Right.
ruined. Only place for decades in Palm Beach, and this sounds
Yeah.
so first world problem, by the way.
Right.
That, you know, that you can get something clean that you think is ruined. And to anybody who does, listening today or watching, you know, something that gets something on it, you want somebody to get it off because you don't want it ruined.
Right.
And so you got that location, you got that store, and you still get the makeup
And
and
the
the
staff.
stuff.
Well,
on the
and get it
jackets.
off without ruining in process.
There's
Yeah.
that, or turning it yellow, by the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or turning
Yeah.
a white, you know, white garment yellow, like a white shirt or something. yellow.
Yeah,
So
the white's yellow. That's from the chemical stuff, pert.
The whites turn yellow, which is crazy. So,
Yeah.
so divine intervention also means, or a Yiddish word, beshert,
Mhm.
which means meant to be. We've all come together
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
chamber.
So
We're
great.
sitting here today doing the chamber podcast, and you're growing your career and your business as an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur. You currently are moving into the next phase of your life, and going to branch this thing out to probably 10,000 locations before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I
I
hope
mean, you're
so.
going to get those wonderful places in the Midwest you've never been before,
Yeah.
and you know, build a business. So to me, it's really exciting, and it's also rewarding to me to think that you guys every year join the Chamber of Commerce, you pay your dues, you join the trustee program, so you make a financial investment into a what is essentially a trade organization, and you always kind of wonder, will I get the money back for my investment
Right.
that you're putting out? Which is not, it's not inexpensive. You know, you know, money is money. And
Right.
cash is cash. But I'm so happy to find that, you know, you come together because you were in the same room and the great interest, and you're going to build your big companies and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is what the Chamber of Commerce is about, making money for you. And I'm going to ask you like one or two final questions here.
Sure.
How do you, and I know the answer, You know, Elizabeth, you've got these clients who are very wealthy, highly educated, who expect things a very, very certain way on the island of Palm Beach. How do you feel about this hyper growth in the market as it relates to those clients? Because
Yeah.
things are changing.
They're changing a lot. We're actually seeing that with sort of like the old guard and the way things are shifting. It's become the biggest challenge to sort of educate them on how things are changing, especially in the area. This isn't the day where Palm Beach is its own, you know,
So,
it runs its own government and everything happens there the way that it happens there.
no.
They're starting to realize even supply and demand with trades and everything like that, you can't throw money at something and have it happen.
Not anymore.
The process is a lot longer. I mean, even like supplies, we had this hurricane across the state a month before season started, and so that part of it, the evolution of it, is a little bit tough for the older clientele, who are used to Palm Beach being a very sleepy seasonal place.
So I've been here 40 years, I'm used to it also.
Right.
It's a quiet little town.
And it's becoming more and more difficult to get things on and off the island. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge that we're facing right now as a service-based company for the clientele out there, is keeping up with the demand of it and still keeping the quality and timeliness the way that it is.
But with that downside, you're seeing an expansion of people moving here.
Exactly.
We're buying the houses.
We see a
who-
lot of new construction, which
Yeah.
is actually, I mean, obviously the Historical Society does a fantastic job at that,
And the town.
what they do, right?
The town also.
But the improvements even on Main Street there, that project was absolutely amazing. So there's a lot of things that are changing in the right direction, modernizing just a little bit,
You know,
for the betterment of Palm Beach and its residents, to be quite
Yeah,
quite
and the
frankly.
businesses are busy year round, and so
Right.
Michael, for you to see the influx of people moving here, you know, the hotels, which at some point in time had been softer in the summer, you know, as you're doing larger businesses with these larger vendors, the hotels, hopefully, you know, that you get in there, this influx of people moving here, expanding locations into West Palm Beach, into Lake Worth Beach, into, as development moves north through Riviera Beach and south through Lake Worth Beach, for you to add more locations and people like the Elizabeths of the world who are gonna come in and say, I think I'd like to own a location there. It's gotta be good for you.
Right.
That's the upside. It also has to be difficult for you and Paige at the home store, the shop where they're cleaning things, that keeping up hiring people, the
Yeah.
level of quality, as we get
Yeah.
bigger, sometimes it deteriorates, but I know that's not you.
Yeah, so, and part of, that speaks to our mantra as far as quality. The reason why we've, until now, have not wanted to entertain too much expansion, I know 17, 18
Smart
locations
growth.
sounds like a lot, is because we need to control the quality. And that's why we took the cleaning out of the retail location, because we have a quality control
Yeah.
person and a quality assurance division. So we now control the quality, but what's great about this cleaning facility, so in each state we have centralized cleaning facilities, the hub and spoke model. And so we're designed now for scale. So we built up the, not just the infrastructure at the cleaning facility, but our digital infrastructure, so that we can support like the logistics. You know, when you have 12 vans on the road as opposed to 2, you have to have something in place to support that.
Sure.
Somebody playing air traffic control with the bridges and the
People,
traffic.
employees, gasoline,
Yeah, so
everything.
so what we've experienced this past calendar year though is unfortunately because of COVID, a lot of good cleaners closed. They just couldn't keep up, or they just didn't have the stamina, didn't want to reinvest another 20 years and
Or
money
reinvent.
and reinvent. Yeah. So a lot of quality people are coming to us interviewing. So we take on about 5 to 10 applications per month
Wow.
of quality candidates. And lately, we've been hiring 1 or 2 a month for the last 6 months because we're gearing up for this growth and for season. But like, it was so important that we figured out our plant's capacity.
Mhm.
So right now, the current cleaning facility that we have, we know how much work, how much in volume that plant can produce without having a second crew or open 7 days a week. But also, we've already retrofitted that plant for double the equipment.
Right.
So right now,
So you're ready to roll.
all we have to do is plug in the next
Ready to
machine,
roll.
grab it, but we're doing it responsibly. It's so important, but I don't say we've figured it out, but we've almost figured out that Rubik's Cube.
Sure.
Couple more twists and turns, and I think we've got all the colors lined up. And that's what 2025 is gonna be, is just putting the finishing touches on organizing and refining the infrastructure for scale, because we're there, but before we go to scale, truly what we want to do is make sure that we've, like with the feedback from Elizabeth, part of the design with Elizabeth, our partnership, her coming on board, is we want feedback from her as a customer, as a vendor sort of conduit.
Correct.
Before she gets started, because we want to know what are some of these gaps and holes we can
360.
fill in.
360 feet.
Yep, so right now we're focused on a lot of those gaps and holes and those bridges to connect. Then when we go to scale, like I said, we've created that foundation that will be very sturdy, and we could go sell 12 units right now, but then what?
But then what? You hurt your reputation. If you don't get
Yeah,
it right.
and we're not willing to do that.
And then
And
you
once
also
these little kinks are like figured out, you're gonna become indispensable to everybody, because
exactly.
like I said, it's so difficult on the island right now, but when you have this sort of quality and service, it becomes extremely
Yeah.
like.
And one other thing I wanted to highlight though for anybody watching, 2 things really. One is, if anybody is interested in learning more about a franchise,
Mhm.
first of all, if anybody's interested in getting our feedback on the chamber, how it has helped us, what we've done to get more out of it, individually and together, please have them call us, because this is a real story. This is not like a promoted, inflated story. In fact,
It's real.
it's understated what we've gotten
It's
from
real.
the chamber in the last 2 years, independent of each other, and now what we're getting together. So anybody that is not having the results that they had hoped for, please welcome them to contact I don't want to say you, both of us,
Of course,
but
yeah.
certainly
Great.
welcome to contact
Thank
me
you.
and us.
Or
But-
even considering the investment, because like you said,
Yeah.
it's a bit higher.
It's an investment.
Right.
It is an investment,
Happy
but
to answer any
it's putting
questions.
yourself in the right position
In the right
to
room
have
with the right
connections like
people.
this.
Yes, absolutely. So anybody, again, interested in just hearing our feedback, our story a little bit more, but also what we would do if we were them to get results that we've experienced, we're happy to
Thank
welcome
you.
them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, if anybody's interested in learning more about a Go Green franchise. So here's what I wanted to do is through the chamber, we're gonna be rolling out franchising through United Franchise Group,
Right.
probably Q3 of 2025.
25.
So Q1, Q2, we would be willing to roll out a couple of licenses, a couple of franchise opportunities for chamber members, probably 4 or 5
Wow.
max, but through the chamber, they will get full benefits for like a discounted rate.
For less
As a-
than what you would once
As
it
a
goes to
chamber
the- to
member,
the company.
they can get in at the ground floor, and there's only a few licenses that we're able to do that for, but because United Franchise Group has been so wonderful and they understand the relationship,
Right.
but we also, the quality, we'd rather roll out like a Series B round,
Right.
if you want to call it that, to chamber members only. So if there are a few chamber members that are interested, have them reach out to us, please. Happy to walk them through that. The other thing that I want to highlight, the eco-friendly, is, because it's so important. Just this week, there was a ban, the EPA placed a ban on perk. After all these years,
Finally.
I knew it was gonna happen.
Finally.
And I think that a lot of people are gonna be searching for a dry
Huge
cleaner,
news, yeah.
because other ones are gonna have to go out of business, or they're gonna have to go green.
Yeah.
And so we've already begun an initiative that I spoke at the president's house
Yeah.
a few weeks ago on behalf of small business, but a lot of cleaners are now gonna have to go green. So we've already created a program that is gonna help them go green, hopefully under our flag.
Oh, great.
But no matter what, the neighborly thing, but a lot of people are gonna also might need to find a new eco-friendly solution to their dry cleaning. But our vans, the traffic is such a problem.
It is.
And our vans, each van touches maybe 100 homes or offices per day.
Wow.
So that's 500 or more per week, and that's not during busy season. And we've got, 10 or a dozen vans on the road. We're talking about our vans alone keep a couple thousand cars off the road
They do.
weekly.
They do.
Performing that function, reducing traffic, reducing the carbon footprint, the emissions, but also reducing risk of accidents.
Sure.
So there's so many reasons why, even if it's not Go Green, there's other eco-friendly that do free pickup and delivery, like us.
Yeah.
But it's free pickup and delivery, but also the eco part is such a real thing for so many reasons. So for those that really do want to be greener, this is a great option, but also they're welcome to call us and we'll help them with point them in the direction of other eco-friendly things
You know,
they
it's
can put
nice
in their
about
life.
keeping 500 cars a week off the island, that there's 75,000 now a day
Mhm.
that come across. So, Michael, Elizabeth, thank you for coming in today. I'm really happy for both of you.
Thank you.
If I was 40 years younger, I'd be doing the same thing, but I'm not. But it's a testament to your wherewithal as business people, businesswoman, businessman, and entrepreneurs. And as I know Michael very, very well, I know how driven he is, and I'm knowing more how driven you are to do it right. And while there's the ecology side of things, that you really focus as young people on the ecology, you also focus on your futures as business people making money. And that's what Chamber of Commerce does. So thank you for coming in today, and I appreciate it. You've been listening.
For having
I have
us.
one more, if you
Uh-oh.
don't mind, I'm sorry. I just want to recognize a couple of partners that are also chamber members.
Sure.
If I may have this
Sure.
opportunity, so thank you. Susan and her husband at the Tuck Shop, Palm Beach Tuck Shop,
Yep.
we've officially strategically partnered with them.
Congratulations.
So in 2025, we're gonna be doing joint efforts on sponsorships and also community outreach. They're wonderful, so Palm Beach Tuck Shop, as well as Habitat for Humanity, Greater
Wow.
Palm Beach.
Yeah.
We're an official partner
That's
with
great.
them.
That's great.
Yeah, so I wanted to recognize them because we've already begun some things, but beyond the chamber, we're partnering to do really, really nice things for our community. So I want to recognize them too.
And Habitat's a great organization,
Yeah.
and she, the woman who runs it, is amazing. Julia Murphy, who does their fundraising, is just on top of her game. So,
Thank you.
You've been listening to Doug Evans. I'm the president and CEO of the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. Our podcast we drop every Wednesday. You'll be seeing this at some point in time soon. If you want to find out more, it's gogreen.com.
GoGreenDryCleaners.com.
I got it wrong. See, I'm wrong. Once again, gogreendrycleaners.com. Google it, you can call the phone number, get a hold of anybody, Elizabeth or Michael can talk to you. But congratulations, and I hope you make millions of dollars in the future and clean up the environment. Listening to Doug Evans, and we'll see you next Wednesday on another episode of Your Palm Beach Guide.